especially of Lauri Markkanen, someone who came into the league way too many comparisons to Dirk, which was never fun. Even for someone like Porzingis, it's not fun to get those comparisons because it's so hard to achieve that level of success in the league. He still puts up good numbers, but he's just not that star that we thought he was going to be.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree with that more. That even coming into the league myself, I was super excited about Lauri Markkanen. I mean, it seems like an identical player to Porzingis. So much success coming out of Europe, and a guy who really hasn't had a big stride of improvement. He's so high on this list because almost I feel like myself, I feel like to this day that he's going to have this year, like a lot of Bulls fans, where oh, it's going to be the year for Laurie. It's going to be the year for Laurie. Hopefully it is. Hopefully this is the year where he gets maybe 18 or something along those lines because he's still a good shooter. Like he's not a bad shooter. He just
No,
really
by no
hasn't
means.
found any other areas to really shine. Again, going to shooting, a guy 82% from the free throw line. So when he's getting to the net and he's getting foul attempts, he's obviously able to hit it. Guy, we know he could hit the three. 7 foot. If you could have a 7 footer who could stretch the floor, like that's a great thing in basketball right now. But he's not the best defender. He's an okay rebounder, 6.3. But again, for a 7 footer, if Andrea Bargnani got so much knack for that, why Lauri Markkanen can't be much better, right? And we see where obviously Bargnani had a couple great years, but where he ended up ultimately. So for Markkanen's sake, hopefully he could find different areas to improve. Otherwise, yeah, he'll probably just kind of maybe stay around this rate for a few years, get traded, and then who knows what happens to
Or
him.
dropping maybe.
Yeah, but where he's
He's
still on this list, like I said, because my hope is that he has a good
like he scored less points last year than he did his rookie year.
year.
He still has the potential to put up great numbers. He's just got to capitalize on it. We've got to see. Well, I think for me, it's a lot of with team success. I think if he was on a winning team, he'd still put up similar numbers, but in our minds, he would actually be successful because he's not on a winning team and he's putting up these okay, decent numbers, but he's not winning. We take a lot of that out of him. It takes a lot out of his credibility as a defensive player, out of his lack of trying a little bit harder to try to get those wins. To me, he does resemble a lot like Porzingis, like you said, but he doesn't block like Porzingis. He doesn't defend in the paint like Porzingis. He's not as quick as Porzingis. He can't take people off the block. He doesn't shoot as well. I just said five things, and I'm not even talking about his lower rebounding, his lower points per game, his lower assists. He has the tools to get there. He's just got to utilize those tools and actually get there. And with that being said, if he does do this, he does become that star player. He can be a borderline all-star every year if he gets to the level we believe he can be. And
Definitely.
if he is a borderline all-star, then that Chicago team is a much, much, much better team.
Yeah,
They're a playoff team at that point.
yeah, and the 17 spot's very justified to me though. Like I just feel like he's soft, like you said. You named a couple elements like it, where he just doesn't like. He feels like a guy that just gets pushed around, who doesn't know how to use his size, who just can't hang in there with even with a guy like Porzingis, who I just feel like would just have his way with him in the post. Doesn't know how to block a good amount of shots. Doesn't know how to use his length other than on the offensive end. So yeah, I mean, yeah, sure he has a great shooting stroke, but other than that, like we said, haven't seen too much. We really need to see more than Lauri Markkanen. If we don't, he's quickly going to find himself lower on the list. I hope for him this year has a good year, and that's why he's so high on the list for now.
Yeah, and he still has the potential to be that better player. So I really hope that he does turn out to be where we think he can.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, before we even get to the next guy saying his name, is how much better the next guy is than Lauri Markkanen right now. Like, just